up, Sami here. Today we are comparing the camera performance of the Huawei Mate 80Rs Ultimate design, which by the way has the exact same camera hardware as the Mate 80 Pro Max, against the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the vivo X300 Pro, to see if that Ultimate really puts it ahead of the other two. I've added timestamps for each section, so feel free to jump to the part you want to watch or just watch the whole thing. This video is sponsored by CINCOM. Well, it's not a boxing glove, it's actually a hand massager that's perfect for anyone who spends long hours typing, clicking, or like me, filming. And honestly, this thing feels ridiculously good, but we'll get to that in a second. First, camera comparison. Let's go! Before we get into photo comparison, I want to talk about a video, because I released an 18-minute video, comparison-only video, a few days ago. I never really shared my conclusion. If you want the full breakdown, you can go watch the video. But here I summarize my thoughts on video performance. Let's start with the most of you care about, zoom video. For daytime zoom video, all three phones do an excellent job. From ultrawide all the way to 10 times or even 15 times, I didn't see huge differences. But once you hit 20 times, Huawei clearly pulls ahead. You can see more details and clearer building patterns. So overall, Huawei wins here without much doubt. Both Vivo and Huawei also offer stage mode, so I tested that as well. And this part is really interesting. If you look at the very beginning of the stage mode clip, both Huawei and Vivo look quite dark. That actually makes sense, because stage mode is mainly designed for shooting concerts. Where the stage lighting is extremely bright, the darker overall exposure helps preserve highlights. I then pushed both Huawei and Vivo to the maximum 30 times. Vivo looks more grainy, while Huawei looks, well, a kind of AI generated. It's clearer and has less noise, sure, but it also feels a little bit artificial. That makes me wonder, in even darker situations, would this processing become worse? The iPhone only goes to 24 times. It definitely has more noise, but honestly, it doesn't look that bad. In fact, I personally think the iPhone might be the most natural looking of the three here. Just my opinion. So whether you should use stage mode or not, that's a real question. Not for night zoom video. From ultrawide to around 10 times, each phone has its own strengths depending on the focal length. But once I crossed 10 times, it was obvious that Huawei's 6.2 times periscope lens kicked in, and it's on a completely different level. In terms of image cleanliness, building details, glowing text, and especially text inside circular signs, Huawei is insanely clear. Beyond 10 times, when zooming into illuminated billboards, Huawei shows extremely sharp text. And both Huawei and iPhone do a good job controlling highlights. Overall, I'm very impressed with Huawei's periscope lenses, especially the 6.2 times one. I'll talk more about this in the photo comparison section. For 4K 60fps daytime video, the iPhone is still the best in terms of smoothness and stabilization. Huawei and Vivo are very good, but with Huawei you can still notice slight temporal instability, some microstutter in the image. Look at the upper part of the sky here. I was shooting close to dusk, so the lighting wasn't ideal, and this kind of issue is more likely to appear. That said, it's still absolute top tier 4K 60fps performance for 2025 or even next year. For UltraSteady modes, action mode, iPhone. Let's go! Let's test the stabilization a little bit. Let's just go really quickly. I test everything at 2.8K 60fps. I'd say the results are pretty evenly matched. The only downside is the iPhone's lens flare, which is genuinely distracting. Oh my god, that was intense. My hands are seriously sore after holding the three phones for so long. But luckily, I've got the CINCOM hand massager. I can use it literally anywhere. It's simple, 3 massage modes, 3 intensity levels, and 2 heat settings. And if you live somewhere cold, it's basically a portable hand warmer. What really makes it stand out is the air wave pressure and kneading system. Instead of basic vibration, I use a wave-like air compression that actually mimics real hand movements. Check this out. Even with no hand inside, you can see how the pressure rolls across. When you use it, you really feel the deep tissue relief. It also offers full hand coverage from small hands like my daughter Christina's to my wife's to mine. It fits everyone. And it doesn't just press on your palm, it torques key acupoints across your whole hand and fingers. After long editing or filming sessions, this has honestly become part of my routine. So if your hands always feel tired or stiff, definitely check out the CINCOM hand massager. It's convenient, effective, and makes a huge difference. Link is in the description. Alright, now that my hand feels much better, let's get back to the camera comparison. There are still some video scenarios I haven't covered, but to keep this video from getting too long, let's jump straight into photo comparisons. For ultrawide, main camera, and even 2x shots, when all three phones shoot at 12 megapixels in daylight, everything looks good. And honestly, I don't like pixel peeping the way some tech reviewers do. It's kind of pointless here. The differences most come down to color tuning, which is subjective. You could argue for any of these flagships. If you really want to see differences, let's switch to maximum resolution. For the 8 megapixel iPhone, 50 megapixel on Huawei and vivo. There's still not a huge gap. If I have to pick, Huawei is slightly better, but not by much. Text that's unreadable on the other two is still unreadable on Huawei. So when does difference become obvious? When I switch vivo to 200 megapixels, which only works at 3.5 times. And wow, the difference is insane. It literally looks like it's from another planet. Of course, you could say that's not fair since the focal lengths are not the same. So in the next test, I match them as closely as possible. iPhone and Huawei at 4 times optical zoom, vivo at 3.5 times optical zoom, all shooting the same subject. Here, vivo clearly wins. The text may not be dramatically sharper, but the overall image looks far more realistic and detailed. Look at the tag patterns above the billboard. Huawei looks overly AI processed, and the iPhone looks too grainy compared to vivo. At this point, if we use vivo's 200 megapixel mode, the advantage is obvious. Compared to Huawei's 50 megapixel, vivo delivers noticeably clearer text and much finer detail on things like tiled surfaces. So for 3.5 times to 4 times optical zoom, we have a clear winner, vivo. However, the Mate 80Rs features 2 periscope lenses, one at 4 times, another at 6.2 times. And surprisingly, that 6.2 times periscope is no worse than vivo's 200 megapixel at 3.5 times. In many cases, Huawei actually shows more accurate white balance, better overall detail, and stronger light sensitivity, even without zooming in. This was consistent across almost all the photos I tested. Honestly, I say Huawei's 6.2 times periscope is the best telephoto lens I've reviewed so far. That said, there's always a way to push things further, like vivo's telephoto lens extender. Once that's added, no phone can really compete. Speaking of zoom, if you want the best zoom, I think is just get one of these if your phone supports, okay? Like for this Vivo X300 Pro, it's supposed this telephoto camera. Let's just check out, compare with the other two, okay? You see the tall crane there. Can you believe there are some text on it? Okay, let's just give it a try. Woohoo! Oh my god. Oh my god. 54 times or ultra, 100 times. You cannot see anything about the text. You may see the square, the contour. iPhone cannot see anything basically. Huawei managed to get some of the characters right. Uses advanced AI algorithm. So even with the best algorithm, there's no way to beat physics. Here are some samples beyond 10 times. Of course, all of these are digitally cropped. So, here's my conclusion. For ultra-wide, main camera, and 2 times, all three phones perform similarly. But once you move into mid to long telephoto ranges, around 3.5 times and 4 times, vivo really stands out, especially thanks to its 200 megapixel sensor. After 6.2 times, thanks to the Mate 80R's second periscope lens, Huawei becomes extremely strong again, with a resolution that can rival vivo's 200 megapixel shots. For zoom photos beyond 10 times though, nothing beats vivo with its telephoto extender. It's simply the best I've ever seen, so no single phone completely dominates every scenario. A good camera experience isn't just about hardware, it's about everything combined. The super bright display on Huawei, the blazing fast capture speed on iPhone when shooting high-resolution photos. Huawei honestly takes way too long to process high-resolution shots. I seriously doubt I'd want to use the feature again. For me, a phone camera is about capturing life instantly. When my son sees me, he gets excited and runs toward me, and that moment is incredibly short. It slips away in seconds. What I need is a camera that reacts fast enough to capture the moment, not one that prioritizes extreme resolution. Of course, for a stunning landscape or a carefully composed scene, I do have the time to slow down and take a high-resolution photo, and in those cases, resolution matters more. What I'm saying is, it literally depends on what you're trying to record. I spent a crazy amount of time making this video, but in the end, for you and for me. The real meaning is knowing when to put the phone down, spend more time with family, and record those moments that truly matter. I leave the rest of the photo comparisons up to you, because like I said, I'm going to spend more time with my family now. Alright, bye bye, and enjoy the video. 4K 30 front camera. Let's check everything. Like right here is super like dark, super dark. Oh boy. Anyway, just to test a little bit. Do you guys like use this kind of front camera for night shooting often? Woohoo! Okay, let's check out. Maybe just run a little bit. I don't know if like a iPhone like would look too dark. Anyway. Alright guys, so I just checked like for portrait front portrait video, Huawei just doesn't offer. Can you believe that Huawei just does not offer, which is a bummer. But if you guys know if Huawei supports the portrait front video, just let me know in the comments. But right now, I didn't find any in the settings. Anyway, just compare the Vivo's versus iPhones. All right. So you can see the difference. Okay, let me just walk a little bit. Portrait video, I think it looks much better than the normal front videos or something. It's just better, I guess. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, I think just check out this back. So good, right? Okay, that's it. Alright, 4K 60. 4K 60 backlight situation. So basically on all three phones they're overexposed, like really loud. Yeah, really, but I think Huawei the worst. The Mate 80 is total worst. To my surprise, like Vivo performs the best in this situation. For iPhone is like also like overexposed, like a giant patch, but not as worse as the Huawei Mate 80 right? And now I switch to the front light a little bit, and let me just a second. The front light. All right, now front light, right? And I don't know why it's like for Huawei it looks like a kind of portrait or something. But for Huawei it doesn't have like front portrait. I tested yesterday, right? Okay, anyway, yeah. So backlight, the best is Vivo. Front light, I guess, looks almost the same. But Huawei looks oversaturated. But anyway, let me just work so you can know who has the best stabilization duration. Okay. Alright. Let's go. Downstairs. Okay.